Hello, everyone. I think we will start the second talk. Good afternoon. I'm Susanna Chung from Asia Art Archive. So it is my pleasure to moderate this session with Fung, our friends, artists, educators, and founder of Art and Culture Outreach. So in this session, all the speakers are invited to share their harvest and learning from Documenta 15. The organization of Documenta 15 has used a decentralized approach. That is, the artistic director, Ram Gupper, and the artistic team initiate the invitation to 70 artists and collectives, and through them to further invite other artists and practitioners. So with a record of 1,500 artists. So because of this huge size of organization, which opens up different ways of access and participation. So that also means that none of us could possibly experience all the perspectives. Because of that, it makes today's event even more meaningful. Here we have 8 Hong Kong-based artists, curators, and educators who participated in Documenta 15 in different capacities, including members of the lumbung community, educators in residence, and research fellows. The speakers will share their learning experience and reflection on Documenta 15, especially in its working models and programs. Now, let me introduce the speakers according to the presentation order. Vennes is the research fellow of Goethe-Institut and Documenta Institute and Documenta Archive in 2021. She will provide the historical perspective of Documenta development. Dory and Chow from Floating Projects, they have participated in Good Schools Collective Study Program, and they will share the experience from that program. And Soy Fong from Rooftop Institute. She participated in the Arts Educator in Residence, organized by Camp Notes on Education alongside the Documenta 15. My colleagues Özge Ersoy from Asia Archive and myself, we will present our learning and insights from being the members of lumbung artist community. And Tang will also join us in the conversation session as a respondent. So without further ado, let me invite Vennes to start the presentation.
Thank you, Susanna. Just a little bit of historical background about Castle and Documenta. Susanna mentioned about this year's, the main underpinning of the Documenta 15 is decentralization. But actually, if you look back into the whole history of Documenta, there's always the sort of like dynamic of building something new on a ruined or old or destruction, like the destruction and reconstruction and trying to develop something new out of the old. It's always underpinning since I would say maybe since the beginning. And the first Documenta is in 1955, but if you look a little bit back to nearly the end of Second World War, actually after the Second World War, the whole castle city, 99% of the whole castle city lie in ruin. And why does particular international art exhibition happen in Castle? First of all, it's because Castle lie in a very interesting geographical location. It was lie at the border between the east and the west Germany, the first of all, and then I haven't dig deep in this respect yet, but there was a saying that there was a factory making weapons for the Nazi family Nazi Germany during the Second World War. So if you were there in the castle, and then you remember that there was a public work called frame construction in the Friedrichsplatz. They're saying that that's a square like the target of a gun or cannons. It's actually pointing to the direction of that factory. So then what's happening after the Second World War is Alan Border, the first artistic director, also the founder, the founding mastermind of the Documenta, think that he should do something to regain or to rebuild Germany as the cultural and artistic center in the continental Europe. What they were going to do back in the first documentary is they were trying to regain the status of the modernity and modern art. That was something we got as degenerate during the Nazi Germany. So then at the first documentary, it's all about restore, reclaim, and rebuild on something already destructed old castle to build into a new, we build a cultural center in Germany. So that at the first documentary, you see the entrance of Vigisianum. There is all the portraits of the all modernist master, Picasso, the founders of Bauhaus, Paul Klee, etc. So this is the beginning. And then the first, I would say, the first breakthrough of the Documenta is the Documenta 5. What was happening that year is that was the first time that Documenta appointed an individual solo artistic director, because before that, the first 4 Documenta is all organized by the committee, which is included all the founding mastermind at the very beginning. So Harold Simon is a Swiss curator. That year, he titled the Documenta 5 as a questioning the reality and the pictorial world today. And then what was very new at that year is it was in 1972, it's right after the 1960, when the whole world was just undergone a huge social and student movement and trying to rethink about what was going on back then. So that at that time, at the Documenta 5, Simon was emphasized on the creativity of individual instead of doing a whole authorized, very official, established style of Documenta in the past 4 iterations. So this year is about individual mythology, and it was the first time that Joseph Ball doing that kind of performance, setting up his office for democracies is like a participatory manifestations. People could come, who could go and discuss with him. Back then, it was quite a breakthrough kind of thing. And this is also the first documentary that trying to incorporate the idea of visual culture. There is quite a lot of propaganda material, magazine material that showing in the main venues of Documenta. That was quite a big breakthrough back then, and cause Siemens was trying to contested about what exactly is art, what exactly is about the international framework of doing an exhibition. So it was quite controversial, actually. And you can see also in the Documenta 5, Siemens was trying to introduce the aesthetic values or artwork from the East Bloc, because it's 1970. And he was trying to introduce artwork from East Germany, East Europe, and also China. And he was talking with the Chinese embassy, and he would like to show the Sao Zhou Yun, the very huge group of sculpture in Sichuan, to borrow it and show it in the castle. But it didn't happen because they refused the Chinese side refused to let the sculpture leave China and so in castle. So the orange cover is actually a mocking of the Documenta 15 back then, because Simon was trying to introduce the values or aesthetic value of the East. So then there was a group called Red Point, using that, mimicking the cover of the Documenta 5, trying to saying that, oh, the socialism is trying to kill the individual. And another turning point is Documenta 10, 1997. The turning point is Kevin David. She was actually the first female artistic director of Documenta 10. Other than that, she turned the whole 10 iteration into a cultural manifestation. She introduced quite a lot of discursive means to the 10th iteration. First of all is the 100 Days and 100 Guests. It's a lecture series throughout the 100 days. She invited a lot of theorists, philosopher, professor, thinker, and then every day there's one talking about a specific theme about globalization, decolonization, and the issue that concerned the globe at that time. This is one of the quite a breakthrough. So it's particularly it's just a lecture. It's a quite standalone kind of event. So her aim is trying to introduce or provoke some sort of discussion throughout 100 days. And another element is she introduced the kind of using the public spaces of castle, using it as an axis, develop a sort of walking experience from the main station through, if you remember, the stairway, the Treppenstraßes. If you walk from the main station to Treppenstraße, and then you will reach Friedrichshain, Friedrichsplatz, and then reach to the waterfront, riverfront of the feudal. She was trying to introduce or intervene that kind of various mobility into the visitor experience with art. So you will see various of art during the route. It was quite new back then because. The underpinning was the mobility is one of the means of the Nazi Germany, maybe not just the Nazi Germany, it's one of the means to control the public. So when you verify that you can move from one place to another place easily, and you live in a very comfortable situation, that you will very conform to what you are living in. So that what David was doing was like he introduced quite a lot of visual intervention along that route and trying to remember you that provoke the function of that space and also provoke what you were seeing during your the walking tour. So the next one, I guess this is quite a lot. Many people will talk about when I talk about the breakthrough of Documenta it's Documenta 11. Documenta 11 is was created by the very renowned, I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly, Onzira, I often do it that way. And he divided the whole Documenta into 5 platforms and 4 continents. The 4 continents, of course, is conceptual. The 5 platforms coincide or co-happening during the time when the Documenta happened in Kassel. It incorporates the idea of collective discussion. First of all, apart from him, there is another 6 curators help to collaborate to create the Documenta 11. And second of all, and he turned, it's very similar to actually to the Documenta 15 this year. Like he turned some venue within the Kassel city, like the old Borough factory and the park and some of the public housing into collaborative venue that invite us, like for example, some underprivileged young people to join and help to build something at that venue. So that I think this is quite similar. The idea of collective was very much also one of the underpinning of Documenta 11, and it's also extended the 100 Day and 100 Guests by David into the Platform 5. It happened in Berlin, happened in India, and then discussion with various topics like the democracy, like the notion of truth in various locations and various cities within the time frame of the 100 days of Documenta. So the notion of collective discussion, discursives is very much manifest to quite a certain extent in Documenta 11. I guess this is what I'm going to say. So I know that this year is quite a lot of discussion, and not just about the historical or some of the anti-Semitism issue, but also about the form and the collective and the participatory notions in the Documenta 15. And what I'm going to say is actually the sort of like decentralize, rebuild, destruct, or to to move away from the very Eurocentric ideas is often the underpinning is always there. But I guess this year is quite interesting. Is maybe the collective is like very much from South Asia is not very intellectual in some sense, so that it aroused quite a lot of discussion. But I guess it's bold and quite refreshing this year. Yeah, that's what I'm.
Thank you so much, Vennes. Thanks for providing us a historical perspective. Now I am going to invite floating projects. So we have Dory and John. So they joined, I think they, especially Dory, maybe is one of the longest, one of the people who stay longest in Documenta 15 for I think over 50 days, over 100 days. So let's hear their actual experience.
Thank you. Yeah, hello everyone. I'm John from Foreign Projects. So thank you, Goethe-Institut and Asia Archive for hosting this wonderful sharing session that give us a really good chance and for me and Dory to really digest what we have learned and the experience throughout this amazing journey. And thank you again for Goethe-Institut for making this amazing journey possible. So a little bit of background to summarize about our program that we've joined. This is the 5th edition of Good School Secular Tamujala, which directly translates to the school of to meet and to spread. So usually this is their annual program, which happens in Indonesia, Jakarta, within the Good School place. That they will invite artists from around the world to live inside within the Good School for 1 year, whole year. The whole concept is to form a new collective within collectives around the world. So this is the 5th edition that we have joined, and it's a little bit more intensive because within a shorter time frame and also within the Documenta context. So it's a little bit different than before. They have, so the whole Frigiesianum Good School has, and also with Rugumpa curatorial context, they're trying to transform the whole Frigiesianum into Frit School. So it's an educational focused venue of the whole Documenta. And the program we have joined is to live inside this Frigiesianum within a really big exhibition hall and turn it into a dormitory for up to like 40 people around, and like sharing one bathroom and shower. So usually me and Dory will sneak into the tourist bathroom because it's more clean. And yes, as you can see, this is the bunk bed, like military. And so the second part is outside our dormitory, which is actually the back of Frigiesianum, which is a place called Good Kitchen, which is a semi-private social kitchen, which mostly all the non-cron, which is hangout, and all the artists from Documenta will meet in this place. So it's kind of semi-private because it's not on the brochure and also leaflet. So only artists will know, but sometimes tourists will know too. So we kind of taking the responsibility during the time there. We have to host and operate, the kitchen, and also cook for ourselves. So about our group, our program, we start from meeting on Zoom from early April, and finally we have met everyone there. So this is like a big group photo from the dorm hallway, from both collective study batch 4 and 5. So we are batch 5, and together with batch 4, which has already meeting for about a year already. So the whole during the whole 50 days, we are following the Good School non-con curriculum and also the 11 subjects, which is the curriculum mainly defining the make friends, learn from friends, and also self-organizing. So these are all the things that Good School think it's collective study focused curriculum that we have to go to lesson every day in every session and meeting all of the lumbung artists within the Documenta context. So this is actually like a learning experience through a situated experience that Good School has organized for us. So obviously, this will lead to many friends making and then into a lot of collaboration. So I will leave Dory for telling us about how we collaborate.
Yeah, and this is what the collective we start is our batch 5 collective, and we collaborate with the Australia group and also Indonesia and Malaysia group, and our collective is called Lumbung Love Collective. And actually, we have do a lot of activity, events in the Frenisianum and also Good Kitchen. For example, the woodcut printing, we making the print with the Make Friends Not Art. Actually, many of them have seen the T-shirt and also the print. And also, we have some cooking. For example, that is the Arabic cuisine that others members teach us, and all of us make the cuisine together. And also some restaurant event. And also we have held the Lumbung Documenta love story that we collect all the love story inside the Frenisianum and also all Documenta. And actually that's much really amazing story that you guys can go to the Instagram to watch it out. And also we have the radio session, and also we have the showcase inside the Frenisianum, rereading the love letter in the public, and also share the experience in there for other people. Yeah, and after the 50 day, we have a showcase that we do the installation and also the video, and also other artwork inside the Frenisianum of the good space. Yeah, and actually, one of the most inspiring activity is that we had the Sino-Thai workshop with other Lumbung artists, Bristol Arts Trust Collective. Actually, their exhibition center is near the Documenta Hall. There's a garden, and then we just randomly to find them to start the collaboration, and then we separated the place to do the Sino-Thai workshop. Actually, I really love this workshop because it's kind of exchange the knowledge that we teach the knowledge how to do the Sino-Thai to the people, and the people show us how do they experience the Lumbung value in there. And then actually after the 50-day program, I extended twice inside the residency program because I really love that, and I want to stay a longer time in the dorm to experience more. And also we even start another collective. It's called the Plants Harvesting Collective. Actually, it start from the Sino-Thai workshop, and I wanted to make another workshop with the printing. And we discussed and start, maybe we can connect some local gardens in Castle, and then we do the printing with the plants. So we just randomly start from the Good Kitchen. And then after harvesting most of the plants to the Eatable City, is one of the collective of Castle, we bring back the plant to the Good Kitchen, and then we start writing the name. And because we have different country of the people, we start writing different language, for example, English, German, and also Chinese, Japanese. I think it's kind of the Good Kitchen is kind of manner that connect each other with all the people. And then we start experiment and testing inside the dorm, and then more and more people are curious our program and also want to join our collective. And this is what we experiment, and also we have some a showcase in the Good Kitchen. And after this Documenta, and we start the collective, and also we even keep FaceTime every day until now. I think why we start the collective is because we really connect to each other. We really wanted to stay longer beyond 100 days, and also we wanted to how to extend the Lumbung spirit into the group, and we were making some workshop online or maybe some database. So yeah, and please keep in touch to our plant harvesting collective.
Right. Yeah. So the Documenta has ended. Like, I've back to Hong Kong for almost 2 months now, and when we are preparing for this sharing, like, this is the obvious question to ask: what do we learn? What can we learn from good school practice, and how can we bring it back or translate back to Hong Kong context? So I think good school it's providing like a platform for us to nourish all this collaboration but to following the so-called lumbung value. But what is lumbung value in a way that good school or good kitchen want to show us? So I'm quoting Tien Tang, which is from Australian Paris collective. So she has write something about the reflection of the lesson she learned from living in the museum, the experience. But I think, yeah, so I think good school is trying to re-emphasize what's the importance of being together, eating on the table together, in karaoke together, as in to respond to the lumbung value, as all this sharing, all this knowledge sharing, resource sharing have to come from compassion, have to come from understanding, so-called friends making. So they're trying to giving us a situated experience, a really kind of extreme environment that we're living together, and through this to host within the space, to give a space harmony and the importance of hosting, and in which we can nourish cultural collaboration within the atmosphere. And also quoting Tianzhang, this is the demand of radical care, of how do we practice radical care, or systematically a caring protocol, to start from maybe starting from the art field. So this is maybe the core spirit of the Documenta. Personally, I think how do we bring back humanity to the contemporary art context? So right. So back to our collective context, which is Fung project, now located in JCCAC right now. We haven't started a big meeting of the reflection about what we have bring back from Documenta to frankly speaking, we haven't met with our member yet.
We need some time digesting.
Yes, but me and Dory are trying to figure out how do we rearrange the space, how do we for instance, for our future development, how do we, following these kinds of responsibility to, nourish and promote caring within the art field, and not just in, the individual art field, but also how do we institutionalize this such a caring and humanity platform that we are open to share, and we are open to support each other. So, yeah, so this is pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dory and John. Give us some experience about what they have experienced in that 100 days. So now may I invite Soy Fong to share her experience in joining an art educator in residence program.
Hello everyone, my name is Soy Fong. I'm an artist, and also I'm a co-founder of Rooftop Institute, which is a charity organization, and we focus on working with artists to promote education through art. So maybe I can control the slide kind of. Thank you. Go back. Oh, okay. So I have joined. How to go down? Let's see, this one. Okay. Okay. So I did the slides I pop up here is want to give you the experience, the overall situation that I went there, and this is mostly the exhibitions. I want to show you the program I'm joining. Yeah. This one. So the program I joined is called Arts Educator in Residency, and different from Dory and John, this program is not organized by Rangupa or Good School. It's more it's organized by the Documenta 15 Education and Art Media Department. So it's organized by the German. And then and supported by a foundations which give us a physical space to stay there, and then we have the framework and the space, and then they recruit the It's like this. This is our working space. And then they recruit the art educator. Some of them are artists, some of them are architects, some of them are working with different fields, but we are all from different countries. For example, Mexico, Netherlands, South Africa, Brazil, Nepal, Russia, Turkey, Germany, France, and Czech. So we are from different backgrounds, but with this framework, we all self-organize. So in this residency, we plan what we do. So this is kind of amazing for me, with all this freedom. So what we have, but it is good for us because we are organizer ourselves. So we decided to have two things focused in this period. So this residence period is 4 weeks. So what we have focused is to just what you have seen in the exhibition. We take Documenta as our target, as our respondents, and we learn from it, from the exhibition. But what we shouldn't call it exhibition. It's like more like an event, the program. The second thing is like this: we learn from each other. So we share our practice. We teach each other, we do workshop to each other. And then we also look around, wait, what is fun? And then we tell each other, and then we go to good school. This is, ask John, what is your program? Wow, so organized. Let us join you. The curriculum, and this, then which day? Oh, they have the itinerary. So we go, and then we cook a lot, and in this workspace. And then this is our workshop. I will talk more later to how we conceptualize our discussion into drawing class. And also this is one of the fellow, Juka. He led the popcorn workshop. Use popcorn to as an idea to work with the children. So this is our itinerary. This is our drawing, mapping. So go back to the first slides lah. So what I have learned from the exhibition. Okay, first this. I have 4 points I want to share again. First of all, I think the Documenta really turn from the spatial-wise, it is more about practice rather than theme-based. Usually in exhibition, like mega exhibition, is organized by a curator, have a theme, and then select artists, and then according to our artwork or specific topic. But this is totally different. For example, this space for the Fashion is like the White Cube or the very prestigious museum before. When you go here, you should see the best work before like Documenta. But here, they turn this into a social space. This museum is where Dory and John live at the backyard, one of the hall. And then it turned to a social space. It is a space not to keep artwork just for display, but it is for knowledge exchange, for for living, for exchanging your daily life, sharing resources, and you know what they have done in the Goose Kitchen or their workshop at the backyard. They will change it into. They will renew the exhibition in the first floor. So it's like they have a system. They produce knowledge at the backyard, but they put it in the front. So they have a system there. So it is really turning upside down the White Cube idea. And the second thing is about time. Hold on. About time. So you see, lots of my pictures is not about a physical artwork. It is about events. Like this is a storytelling. This is just encounter. Use the Dory as a which produced in the village as a musical instrument, and then you can jam together. Then using ritual to talk about the new Euro agenda. Yeah, there are lots of activities. Too many. I was after that. I really kind of addicted to workshop. I go to many workshops. I also go to the mum workshop when I go to Hong Kong, just to engage and then to feel different people. So about time. So they in this Documenta, I feel that they are not just creating. They show the practice. So you feel the lumbung idea through many situations, through many events. So the whole event is like a flux. They are changing every day. This situation and scenes, they are allowing the participant to create, to experience organically how knowledge is produced, and also what allow many experience, affection, emotion to happen. For example, I have joined. They have so many activities. Even the music is very diverse. It's like what they promote is have lots of voices. For example, I experienced one music concert. It's called silence music. Do you know what's that? It's a group of people go in the middle of the night, like 8 p.m. already very dark. Go into the wood, into the park, where the firefly is, and listen to silence. Like John Cage, 4 minutes, 33 seconds. This is silence music. And then another point is the mega music show with lots of amazing DJ. So this is very diverse, and you can feel lots of different culture. And actually, I'm just mentioning the fun part, but you are also learning a lot of collective practice and ideas. And one thing I want to show is the lots of different chairs in the exhibitions, all different kind of way of sitting down. This is artist discussion. Oh, sorry. So another thing is I realize is all different kind of sitting method is also kind of like promoting the idea of lumbung. Is you have to take time and sit down. Like now, we have to sit down, spend time, and to in order to so this exhibition require you to spend time. If you are like the normal in Hong Kong, maybe you have efficiency to visit an exhibition. I need to see the topic sentence. What do you want to tell? And then see the work. This doesn't work. You cannot really get to know what they are promoting. So I have one slide. It's called "Sit Down, Be Lumbung." It's where one of my realization in this experience. And the third point is about inheritance, anger, inclusive, and citizen identity. So afterwards, when we are discussing among our fellows, we find that the one thing very impressed in this Documenta is a lot of anger in the work. We can feel. When I say that it seems very personal, very irrational. Well, usually we will not discuss in the art field. You won't say anger. Sometimes you say discomfort or or something justified. But why this is why we feel it? Because it is because when I was there, all these events, it seems like I'm traveling with different culture and nations, many programs. But it's not in a tourist feel. I see many culture, many topics. It's more about the group of people, they are responding to their living, but usually it's not about country and country, like decolonization, something like that. It's more about within their nations, the long history, heritage in the history, the conflict, or sometimes, so for example, in the Amazon, it's about the human and the nature, the conflict, about your identity. So this anger kind of like, that's why to encourage a group of people get together, and that's why a collective come out, and they want to use as live together, stay together, to think about a solution or propose another idealization to resist about this this injustice in society. So somehow some of the work is more close to the society, like an activist, but they are more from their practice. They are more showing a celebration of this kind of alternative living or another ideology to resist about these situations. For example, there's quite a few work about music, about songs. There's a very, sorry, I need to end up. So like my last point is about rural and vernacular, these keywords. Many of the wisdom in this event, they learn from rural area, like rural, 即係鄉村 countryside, like lumbung, they are about brownfield, how they collect and share their resources, and also vernacular about native. So lastly, so after this show, and then how we learn together and then realize into a drawing workshop all these ideas together. Hey, yeah, this is Be Lumbung Sit Down is our deep impression from this document. Yeah, document. We also need to show some anger, you know. Yeah, and then I learned, and we also have a continued chat, like Dory. We have continued meeting, Zoom meeting with our fellows to, yeah. So I think this is it is what we want to continue from this documentary. You really have this kind of sustainability. Yes, yeah, that's pretty much what I want to share.
Thank you, Soy Fong. So now is our turn. So Özge and me will share with you, in our perspective, we are from Asia Art Archive, so we are invited as one of the lumbung artist community. So this is the first time AA is being seen as artists, so it's a very new experience for us. So for both of us, we will do a very quick sharing. I will share more with you about how we involved in before the 100 days, or at the very beginning. And then Özge will tell you more about what is happening after the 100 days. So to begin, I would like to tell you that we begin with an invitation from Ramgupa. Basically, Ramgupa is inviting us to be part of the lumbung community. So the word lumbung has repeated, I think, the most of the time today. So in fact, what is the meaning of lumbung? Lumbung is a rice barn in Indonesia, which is like a rural building in which farmers or the community store their surplus of rice there. And then people go there to share and then take things from there. So sharing, resource sharing, and knowledge sharing is the key for this year Documenta 15. So at the beginning, they invite 54 artists. So the small name, you may not be able to see all. They are the 54 artists. But what they invite us, when they invite us, is that they ask us to invite people from your ecosystem further. So it's an invitation through you to invite further. In fact, this invitation, they also do the same when the selecting committee invite Rooftop to submit a proposal. What Rooftop did is give an invitation to the selection committee to invite them to be part of this lumbung community. So that's why these lumbung words keep coming up. And we are there, the yellow one, so we are one of the cluster. So what they did is they divide all the artists into different clusters. Some are divided because of the time zone, because of the Zoom, they need to meet together. But for us, Asia Art Archive, we are very lucky. I think we are invited in a cluster which we really share values by nature. So we are all situated in the Friedrichshainum, just like what the rest of the speakers said. And Friedrichshainum is was turning into a school during Documenta 15, which is called Free School. So the way they organize it is we were invited in last year, November, so we had a site visit, and then we come back. Then we have almost weekly or bi-weekly Zoom meeting with all these people. So it's a very inefficient process. So at the beginning, we just very serious, AA do things very serious. We plan all the single meeting, but at the end we know that in fact we should be chill, we should hang out more, because the ideas for them is you need to spend time more together so that you can really know about each others. Then you will find your like-minded people. Then you may want to collaborate further during the 100 days. And one thing that I really impressed, I think for those who have organized exhibition, would know that usually it's the curator who planned the site and then tell you this is what it is planned. But during the process, what we always call is decentralizing is that at the beginning, when they give us this plan, they tell us that, Friedrichshainum has 3 levels. So in fact, it's simulating the lumbung building, which is the ground floor of that lumbung building. Usually is for sharing, drinking tea, have a hangout in the farmer in the rural areas. Middle is living. The top floor usually is harvesting, where people store the rice. So then they said, okay, you guys are archive, like Asia Art Archive, Black Archive, Feminist Archive. All of you are storage. You should all go to the 3rd floor. Then we tell them, no, we are not a storage. We are a living space because we are active archive. So through this process, we're able to change the whole curatorial plan. Then all the archive become the living area in the 2nd floor. Instead, all the youth programs, those more active ones, they invite them to share the harvest of their youth program or different community project. They were moved to the top floor. Just to share with you this as one case study, how this process, how did we involve? So at the end, our group, our cluster, we are also given each cluster also given a collective pot of money to decide how to use collectively. So for us, we decide to contribute to this common space for the whole Documenta 15. So you can see what Dory has done is also using this space. And this member is from Al-Washa, who is from Tunisia. Their group helped us to realize what we were imagining for this space. And then during the 100 days, it's become a place that everyone can use to organize activation programs. And then responding to that, Asia Archive also think about how can we, if we situated in an imaginative school, what do we want to contribute? So that's why we go back to our archive and go back to our resource to think about how artists, not only an artist, but artist is also a person as an artist, as an educator, as someone who as a custodian of those vernaculars, everyday knowledge. So inside, in fact, we represent over 20 artists inside. So we have people from Thailand, we have people from India, from Hong Kong, from Singapore, etc. So we use our space like this. And then during the process, activation is really the key. So all these members, Documenta, Rooftop invited, naturally like to do programming. So you can see we keep doing different programming. I never thought that I would talk to so many people in an international event like this, but in fact, every day we're talking groups of people. We do different talks and programs within our site. And then at the same time, what Rumgupa is interested is not, on one hand, is AAA as a resource, so we have connection with people in our region, but at the same time, they're also interested in ecosystem in Hong Kong. They're particularly interested in Rooftop building, Mei Fong. So they said, what if we brought Mei over? Because for them, what they care is not only that 100 days, but how can they learn more, and then they bring back to Indonesia to let people to really continue to learn from each other. So because of that, we also bring things apart from Rooftop building. In fact, 1983 is the younger generation who also share their spirits. So because of that, we bring with Goethe-Institut support, we are able to bring May and Hin over to contribute to the Good School program and different projects and a public talk as well. So now I hand over to Özge, because we all think that work is done after that 100, at the beginning of that exhibition, but no, in fact, that is the beginning of another journey.
Okay. Thank you, Susanna. Can you guys hear me? Okay, great. I only want to show one image today, and it's a screenshot from Instagram of an artist called Özge, who's one of the participating artists in Documenta 15. And it's a photograph of one of his recent drawings, which says, "We are sad, we are tired, we are angry, and we are not perfect." The first 3 lines, this is basically the title of a collective statement that was written by all the Lumbung artists, as well as Ruang Grupa, an artistic team, basically in response to what's been happening after the opening of the exhibition itself. And this was published around a month ago. And I think this is a quite decent summary of most of our feelings since the opening, I would say, for the last several months. And I will come back to this image too. For me, one of the biggest propositions of Documenta 15, like Susanna was saying, is decentralization itself. And going back to what Vennes was saying, maybe it's not the first time that artistic directors were thinking about decentralization. Vennes, you gave the example of Ukrainian Resource edition. I was also thinking about just the previous edition, Documenta 14, where the artistic director, Adam Jimjic, he also wanted to think about how do we redistribute both the exhibition itself and also the resources, and he moved part of the exhibition and part of the resources to Greece, beyond Germany. So there have been different attempts to think about decentralization in a different way. And for Ruang Grupa, I think there were 3 very specific ways of thinking about decentralization. The first one is the distributed invitation that, Susanna, you talked about. Ruang Grupa inviting collectives, those collectives in turn inviting other people, those people inviting more people, this fractal nature of the invitation that we are talking about. The second one is distributed resources, which was also very important. All the Lumbung artists, they received the same production budget, and everything was very transparent from the very start. So this was also very, very important for the whole structure itself. And the last one is distributed curating. So Ruang Grupa or the artistic team, they didn't necessarily have a vetting system for the artworks that we would show, or the other artists or the other collectives that we would invite to our displays or to our programs. So overall, it's a model of production, and it's really a model of organization more than just organizing, let's say, a large-scale exhibition itself. You can call it an ambitious one. You can call it maybe an idealistic one. And it's also, I think, it's a challenging one because it is fraught with risk. And this started to be quite obvious, with the right after the opening. So the whole debate around this decentralization, it's been stifled in the anti-Semitism debate. I'm sure most of you have been following the news around this. So just this distributed curating method, it's been heavily criticized. People were saying that it's about lack of, let's say, lack of curatorial responsibility. A lot of people said that it's loss of control. Some of the politicians, called the exhibition a national embarrassment, for instance, because of that reason. And the response of the Documenta management itself was to create this review board. They called it the scientific board, who was invited to come to the exhibition and to assess everything on display for anti-Semitism. So it was really about inserting more control, more structure, and more authorities. So there is a lot to unpack here. But what I want to say is that moving forward, there are two things that, as a team, we've been thinking about. The first one is the potential and the shortcomings of decentralized curatorial model. And for us, Documenta 15 is just a very interesting, very challenging case study where we can basically talk about how we might want to do things differently. But then the question for us is that how many of us we are willing to shift the resources that we have, both knowledge, both the formats of institutions, and also maybe financial resources, to move away from the exhibition-driven model. Not that it's better or worse, but if we want to test it out, how many of us are ready for that? And do we really want to stop relying on the work of individual artists and sometimes star curators that the mainstream system is pretty much based on? And also, how many of us ready to accept that if there is no conventional, no mainstream curatorial model, centralized curatorial model, that there will be less explanations, there will be more inconsistencies, there will be oversights, sometimes major oversights, and sometimes there will be mistakes. And I go back to Dan Perzhowski with that. And again, how many of us are we open that there are risks and there might be mistakes, and we are not necessarily perfect, but we'll basically have the trust to each other, and then we can learn from each other, rather than inserting more structures and more hierarchies. So that's the first point. And the second point, and I will wrap up right after this, is the continuation of lumbung and lumbung principles. We've had so many discussions with friends, with colleagues, and everyone has been asking, so how do you evaluate? What was the impact? John, you were also speaking about that. And right before the talk, we also said, we really need time to think about the impact in our own, let's say, practices, and also in thinking about these like very abstract terms too. But for us, one of the things that we want to share is that even within the people who were invited to participate in Documenta 15, we were not equals at all. One example, Asia Art Archive. We are a 22-year-old not-for-profit. We have a full-time staff of around like 35 people. It's we don't identify as a collective, but you might say that you guys are a pretty established institution. And when Susanna was sharing the installation view, in the very far back, there was the display of a collective from Algeria, the Archive of Women's Struggles in Algeria, which is a collective of 3 people that started only 3 years ago. They don't even have a permanent space. So even within us, we're not fooling ourselves saying that we are all equals. But really the impact, if it's a positive one, we're going to see it in the coming years if we manage in the first place to keep our conversation going, to keep sharing our resources, and to basically keep learning from each other. I know that sometimes these words are quite, flowery, but this is the real challenge for all of us. And I think, again, as a model, as a case study, we're going to see the impact in the coming years. And what Round Group did, as Susanna, you were saying, we did not only meet these collectives right in the opening of the exhibition, but we started having these conversations way before the opening. So I think we really owe a huge thank you to Round Group itself and the artistic team, so that all of these conversations and relationships had started building up quite early on. And maybe last thing that I can say is that we were saying that we wanted to show some of these historical examples of working collectively and asking these questions to each other in, let's say, more historical examples, the examples that we brought from our collections, and also similarly to the different archival initiatives in the display as well. we know that this is possible, and we know we are not the ones recreating the wheel, but I think it's really a method of, it's a matter of learning from the previous collectives and thinking about how we want to rethink the structures that we built for ourselves, and to the extent of how we might want to change them in the first place. So I think that I will just stop here.
We may want to wrap up this session and really thank all of you for spending time with us in this whole afternoon and stay tuned now. It's really valuable for time in Hong Kong. Thank you so much. And I would like to take this opportunity together with Goethe-Institut and Asia Archive, thanks all of you, and also thank you, Yan, for moderating the morning session, and all the speakers in this session today. Thank you, May, Vennes, Soy Fong, Hin, John, of course, Özge, and Dory. And please stay behind if you can, because let's celebrate this exhibition with Hin and May. In about a few minutes, we will start the exhibition opening. There will be karaoke, there will be food, there will be hangout. Yeah, continue this lumbung experience. Thank you so much.